Welcome to our new interview series where we speak to champions of digital trust. Who are you and why should we trust you?
My name is Ryan Carrier. I'm the executive director of a nonprofit public charity called ForHumanity. ForHumanity has a mission, and the mission statement is to examine and analyze downside risk associated with AI, algorithmic, and autonomous systems, accept those systems where they are, and try to engage in the maximum amount of risk mitigations. The theory being that if we can minimize the risk from these tools, then we maximize the benefit for humanity. And that's a great reason to trust us, is that we are well aligned with the people who would be giving that trust. We are aiming to mitigate risk for all humans from these tools. So I think that's a simple and fast answer.
I love that. And I'd love you to go into a bit more detail about that. So how does your organization contribute to trust in the digital world?
Sure. We are, as I mentioned, a nonprofit public charity. We've grown from just me in March of 2020 to be more than 1,700 people from 92 countries around the world. And our primary work, our primary mission is to develop independent audit of AI systems. And the theory behind independent audit of AI systems is to borrow from the 50-year track record, the experience of financial audit, and bring that to the world of artificial intelligence, to create governance, oversight, and accountability in how these tools are developed, used, deployed, and so on. And independent audit gets into operational rules, binary rules, that a third-party independent auditor can go in and verify compliance with those rules. And they do that verification not on behalf of the company, but on behalf of the public at large, and create this infrastructure of trust that changes corporate behavior. Many corporations would like to do the right thing until they get busy, until they get distracted, until it becomes maybe hard or hurts their profits a little too much. We learned this behavior centuries ago, honestly, when we put teachers to teach students, right? All of us could learn. We could read a set of textbooks and say we learned something. And maybe we did, and maybe we read it, and maybe we finished. But eventually what we learned is that when we put a teacher in the classroom, we have somebody who's providing oversight, and it changes our very human nature. We want to please that person. We want to be found compliant. We want to demonstrate and document our knowledge and our expertise. And the same thing is true with independent audit of AI systems. When you know that third-party independent auditor is coming in to check your work, you know what you do? You complete it. You build everything to satisfaction to ensure that you have sufficient compliance with the law or the guidelines or the regulations or the best practices, whatever they might be. And there's two elements of how ForHumanity participates in this system. Number one, we are trying to support the system for all who would commercialize it. So we don't have a commercial role in this ecosystem. We want to support people who would be pre-audit service providers or auditors or teachers or build technology to satisfy compliance. All of this ecosystem is designed to support them. So in establishing that, the role that we play is we aim to make the rules. Now, people will hear that and they'll kind of be like, ooh, who's ForHumanity to make the rules? Well, actually, we do it with a humility that says it's not our job or not our role to make the rules. We take the law, guidelines, best practices, standards, and we craft them into these auditable rules. It's like a secretarial role. And then we take those rules and we go back to the authorities and we say, is this what you mean by GDPR? Is this what you mean by the EU AI Act? And so they have every right to say, no, you didn't get it right, or you didn't interpret it the way we wanted you to, and then we fix it. So we support, obviously, democratically elected legislators and lawmakers, but where they haven't made laws, where they haven't mandated independent audit, we will also seek simple market adoption. Does the production of these rules help you to feel comfortable about the risks that you're taking with these tools? So corporate adoption, government adoption for implementation. And the other role that we play is that we train individuals on how to be ForHumanity certified auditors, the CPAs of this world. We train them to be experts in what compliance looks like, how to evaluate risk controls and treatments and so on, to know that a company has met the required standard for compliance. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, incredible.
It does. I like the infrastructure of trust. Here's the third and last question. If you had a magic wand, what would be the one thing you would change in today's digital world?
That's an easy one. We would mandate third-party independent audits on an annual basis. So we believe that the governance, oversight, and accountability that this introduces is too critical to protect humans from harms that run from ethics, bias, privacy violations, trust failures, cybersecurity insufficiencies. That's the 5 different ways that we look at risk to humans in this equation. And when we build all of our audit criteria, we know that some of it doesn't ever change, right? You make a plan, you put, let's say, a monitoring policy in place. That might be static for 5 or 6 years because your system is static in terms of its monitoring for 5 or 6 years. But we also know that these models learn and move and evolve and change. And so there's elements of real-time evaluation that must go on. That's impractical. So what that is a balance between long-term static stuff and things that are changing real time. We settled on what we think would matches to the financial audit world, an annual review. And some of that review will be like, oh, same as last year, same as last year, same as last year. You're good, you're good, you're good. And some of it will be what's changed now and how have you reacted to it? And have you abided by your own rules to determine that the model is still doing what it's meant to do? So again, just to reiterate, we would call for a mandatory annual audit of high-risk AI systems. If they're low risk, they don't need to go through this. It's a risk-based approach that basically says if you have a reasonable amount of risk to humans, then we want you to go through this independent audit process. Does that make sense?
It does. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So, Ryan, how can people find out a bit more about what you're doing?
Well, there's 2 ways to get plugged into ForHumanity. One, well, first off, there's our website, which is forhumanity.center, and there's a lot of information there. Joining the community, as more than 1,700 people have done, is a great way to be actively in the space of sort of AI governance, AI ethics. There is no cost to you. There is no requirement of you except you provide your email address and you agree to the code of conduct. Once you have done that, that is 100% of what ForHumanity demands of you. Now you are welcome into the community of more than 130 different working groups. And it's a place where you can just exist and be and learn and watch and take in. You can be the ultimate lurker if you want, and that's okay, right? That's totally fine. And it's all about transparency, giving everyone access. So once you're in there, it's an all-volunteer organization. You may find, I want to get involved. I want to get plugged in. You raise your hand, and I guarantee we call on. It's very simple. The other way to plug in is ForHumanity University. 9 different free courses. You should start with Foundations of Independent Audit of AI Systems, and that explains the lexicon. It explains the infrastructure of trust. It explains the ecosystem in the world that we kind of live and work in. Those courses are all free. If you want to be certified in them, there's a small fee associated with certification. And once you take foundations, then you can go on to become a ForHumanity certified auditor, which doesn't mean you have to be an auditor. It just says you are an expert in what the compliance requirements look like. So you can do any one of 6 different FHCA courses, or you can do risk management expert course or algorithm ethics, which is designed for people who would sit on an ethics committee. So lots of different ways to plug in. Hopefully they fit with your career path. Hopefully they fit with your interest and your passion in the space. And I think there's something for everybody.
Ryan, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. Lydia, do you have anything to follow up with?
No, other than I really recommend the courses because I have been looking into them and the content is really, really very high quality and very, very interesting.
amazing. We'll all be getting registered and certified as trust. And I just want to say one last thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Thanks to both of you.